Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. I'm Michael and I'd like to thank you so much for being here and for choosing one of my products, which means you're supporting my small business. And I truly believe that this tool will be proved very valuable for your budget and for your finance tracking. And if you have any question or you need anything, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm just a message away, and you can reach me through email, through my Etsy store, my website, comment below this video. You can use any way you want. Also, I'd like to forgive me for my language because English is not my first language. I'm from Greece. I'm working with spreadsheets for more than 8 years now, and this one particularly took me more than 9 or 10 months to create it. So let's start right away with step by step on how to use it and what features and capabilities this template offers. First of all, just like any other template from me, I always suggest to start with the README instructions tab, which offer a step-by-step and explaining every tab separately. For example, here, as you can see, explain each section of setup page, transactions, entry tab, balance. All tabs are mentioned and explained here detailed. Of course, as I said, you can contact me anytime if you need any clarification or you have any issue or you need support. So after taking a look into the instructions tab, the first thing you have to do is to come over here on the setup page. It's the first tab where you practically submit all your details. So you're making the template knows about your categories, your income, savings, payment methods, your currency symbol, when you start using this template, if you prefer your week to start from Monday or Sunday, anything will be predefined from this tab. So let's start by filling a few examples. First of all, you have to set your currency symbol. Simply click within this cell and assign your currency symbol in here. The whole template will be updated based on what currency symbol you have over here. After that, select the year that you start using this template. In our case, 2026. Also, from this section, even if you used the template from 2026 till 2030, for example, you can navigate back and forth to any year by changing the year and month from over here. So if we have entries from 2025, we can switch back to 2025, and the whole template will be updated based on this year. Of course, none of your entries will be lost. Just select which year you want to be displayed. Okay, so let's go with 2026, and we're starting from January. The week starts from Monday, and let's set up a few payment methods or accounts. Payment methods and accounts are the accounts or any payment method we are using from which either we are sending money or we're receiving money. For example, we bought a sandwich. What payment method we used to pay for that sandwich? Okay, might be cash, might be our credit card, or a bank transfer. Okay, you can fill up to 12 payment methods. We will see later where we can use them. After that, we have an assign your progress bar color section, where we practically letting know the template what color we want based on the percentage during our budget. We will come back to that later when we explore more about the template. So now the important part of this tab, it's our categories. Here we have to list every income, savings, investment, sinking funds, expenses, anything we have, and we have created categories for these main sections. So, for example, let me make a few entries. For example, in income, paycheck, might be a gift or interest, dividends, items that we sold, any bonus that we received, our side hustle, and might be a commission. Okay, for savings, might have a retirement fund, an invest fund, and an emergency fund. For investments, stocks, crypto, mutual funds, and real estate. For sinking funds, we might want a new couch or our vacations in Greece, a new car or a new apartment. So, what's the difference between savings, investments, and sinking funds is that on savings, we are putting money and we forget about them. On the other hand, on sinking funds, we're putting money for a specific goal, which might be a new couch or a new car. Okay, and the investment are categories that we use to invest in them. Of course, feel free to use them as you like, but that's the main difference between them. Also, let's admit a few expenses. Okay, so we have submitted a few categories, and let's go now on a few more, where we can also submit more details for each one of them. For example, we have the debts and loans categories and bills and subscription. So starting from here might be a debt that we have or cards might be. Okay, we set our balance for each one. The minimum payment, the interest rate they have, their due date, where we submit just the date number, no month, no year, nothing. Okay, and any notes we might want. Also, this column indicates in case we want a specific order to be displayed each debt on the debt repayment tab. We will see about that later. Let's also define a few bills and subscription categories. We have Disney, Spotify, this one subscription, and over here, okay, these are bills, perfect. Billing cycle, we set every when we will be charged for this. Okay, let's say monthly for this one, bi-weekly, let's say bi-weekly, monthly, okay, or let's make it bi-weekly, annually, and weekly. Also, charge date. Here, we're letting know the template when was the last charge date, so can easily calculate the next one. For example, the last one for Disney was, let's say, 15th of May. Okay. For this one, let's say 18, 19, just for the example, I will use this month for everything. Okay, perfect. Now that we have everything set up, we're ready to start using the template and start budgeting. So, before we explore these tabs, I will go directly into the budget tabs. First of all, the template offers 12 tabs, one for each month, where we can budget each category easily, and also sorry, also offers the annual dashboard tab, which summarizes everything by month, okay, and by category for each month. So let's start with making an example for June, the next month. So over here, we have no actual amount because we haven't submitted anything, and we have no progress. Uh, so over here, we have every category we've submitted on the setup page under incomes, under expenses, subscriptions, debts and loans, savings, sinking funds, everything. So let's start by budgeting each category. Let's say we're waiting 5,000 from our paycheck. Okay. Also 500 from gift. The amounts are random, just for the example. Okay, so here we submit what we are planning to receive. Okay, it's not the actual amount, it's not what we actually received, just our plan. Okay, we do the same for every category. So give me some time to submit a few. Now, practically, I set the budget for every category. Okay, so our done from here is practically finished. We came for June, we set a budget for each category, and we are ready to start using it. We also can set a daily budget. Okay, we can either set a default one for each day based on our income, on what we are planning to spend on each day, or we can come over here and submit a specific budget, for example, for 2nd of June. So now we are ready to start submitting a few actual transactions. So after we set the budget for each category, there is nothing else here. Here we'll summarize the actual amounts based on the entries we made on the transactions entry tab. For example, for income, we received on paycheck at 1st of June, paid in bank account, okay? Instead of 5,000, we received 4,800. We also received a gift as cash. Let's say the gift was higher than what we expected. We also made some shopping for groceries at 2nd of June, paid with credit card, and that was it. Okay, so I made a few entries here. So let's get back now on the June. Perfect. We see that the actual amount we received is this one compared to this one. So the progress bar is almost full. Also, we received more than we were on what we were planning. I'm sorry. So it's full and it's over budget. Okay. So here we spent 263 compared to 350 we're planning to spend for groceries. And if I come down here, I can see that on daily budget tracker, on day 1 we received this one, we didn't spend anything. On day 2 we spent this amount. On day 3 we received also this amount. Okay, also we can set a budget if 100 doesn't fit. Okay, we can set 300, which will override this one just for this day, because in this day 100 still applied until we submit another budget. Okay, so as we submit more entries over on the transactions entry tab, this tab will be updated. Keep in mind that it's very important to submit the right date, because if, for example, instead of June I'd select May, Okay, if I come over here under June, I don't see any spend for groceries. It went to May. Okay, so make sure all your entries are accurate. Let me fix this. Perfect. Also, if you have any previous balance that you want to include it into this template, you can simply submit it as an income. Might be, let's create another category for this example, might be previous balance. Okay, and we are coming over here, previous balance. And the best way to do it in order to not affect the calculations of the template is to submit it with a date from 2, 3, or 4 years ago. For example, into our bank account might be 5,000. Okay, that way we've added 5,000 into our money. It's over here. Okay, as you can see, we have 9,800. No matter where they came, we have 5,000 more. Okay, but our budget doesn't affect it at all, unless we use rollover. By using rollover, practically, you are including in this budget any amount you had from previous months. Okay, so if you notice here, our monthly balance is this one, with rollover goes over here. Okay, so that way you can include any previous balance into this template. Also, in the summary bars at the top, as you can see, says the total income, total expenses, saves and investments, and total subject bills. Also, even if your entry is an expense, there is no need to submit it with a minus symbol because it's an expense. Just the amount. The template knows that this is expense, so has to deduct it from the income. Okay. So based on your entries, your budget, and everything, the graphs will be updated. Over here, you will see where you are on each category. You can see your daily budget, and also in the section down here, you can see all the transactions that has to do with this month. Okay. Also, over here, you can see a spending report, top 30 spending categories with their amount and the budget. Okay. And you have a goals and notes section for this month. So that's the monthly tab. All you have to do is to budget each category and you're ready to go. Then you can come on the annual dashboard where you can see for each month where you're standing. Okay, monthly summary for June, for example, annual summary by category. Okay, and also by monthly breakdown. Here there is no need to make any entry. Everything will be populated automatically. For income, expenses, subscriptions, everything will be populated over here automatically. There is no need for any entry. So we have 12 months tabs, one for each month, and one tab which summarizes everything for a period of 12 months. Okay. So now that we covered the main part, which is the budget part of this tab, let's move now on the other tabs this template offer. Besides the transaction tab where you're submitting every transaction and the template will populate your transactions on the corresponding month and annual dashboard, we have the balance and transaction finder. In balance and transaction finder, you can see what's the account balance for each one of your accounts, what deposited, what withdrawn, and what's the current balance. Okay, but you can also filter your transactions. For example, you might want to see 1st of June till 2nd of June if you had any income. Okay, if you had any expense. Okay, also you can narrow down the results and set a subcategory or paid with and sort it by date or amount. So let's say just income. Okay, we might want to ascending order for the amount. Okay, so it's an easy way to find your transactions. So we have the transaction finder over here and the balance for each payment method over here. These are just clickable buttons. So that's pretty much everything about the balance and transaction finder tab. Let's go now on the calendar tab. Calendar tab consists of a main section with a calendar which display what subscription and bill we have for the selected month and year and what debt we have for the selected month and year. Okay. However, we can also submit some personal entries, for example, dentist, when, let's say, at 19th. Okay, and the calendar will be displayed automatically. So there is no need to make any manual entry over here or here. All you can do is just click the checkboxes in order to track what you paid. For example, for June, you might pay your Spotify. Okay, it's on Monday 1st. So if I click it, will be removed from here. You might pay also your Chase Freedom debt. Okay, as you can see, you have a debt for 1st of June or every 1st until paid off of 150. This debt, in order to consider it as paid for the calendar, you have to come over the debt repayment tab. Okay, Chase Freedom, and mark it as paid. So if I come over here, this removed also, and over here is checked. So I will come back later on debt repayment tab to explain how it works. So keep in mind that this tab consists of a calendar that displays bills and subscription based on the charge date you've set and the billing cycle. Okay, and debts based on the due date for each debt. So the template knows that you have to pay for student loan till the 4th of every month, so display it here till you paid it. Okay, also for your bills and subscriptions, don't forget, in order to clear every month and have an accurate tracking, to click your checkboxes in order to clear the calendar eventually. Also, you can navigate yourself through any month, okay, to see what you got. Okay, this one is considered as checked because there is no payment for August. You have only for this one repaid. Okay, so that's the calendar tab. Shows what you have for today. You can navigate yourself back and forth. You can see all your bills and subscription with their due date, and you can click them in order to be removed from the calendar. You can also make your personal entries, and you can track your month's debts. Okay, so now let's go directly into debt repayment tab. This tab is a little bit more complex, but you will get familiar with by using it. First of all, keep in mind that this tab consists of 30 debts. One debt is one column, okay, starting from left to right. For example, we have Discovered Cashback, American Express, Chase Freedom, and Student Loan. All these came from the setup page. Their balance also. Okay. All you have to do here is to set when you start the repayment. For example, January might be May, or okay, May. And the default amount, which describes the additional payment that can be added to the minimum payment for each payment to all months. This can be easily be 0 if you are planning to not make any payment above the minimum payment. Okay, as you can see, we've set $40 for Discovery back as minimum payment. Okay, so the template calculate how many months you will need. This one will be repaid at December of 2028 if you pay the minimum. Also calculate the interest and what the balance after the payment. So over here you can set any amount. Let's say I'm willing to pay 100 extra of what my minimum payment is. Okay. Also, I want the snowball repayment strategy, custom order or submit order. Custom order is what I told you before about the number column here. Keep in mind that the repayment strategy usually goes by repaid the first, the second, the third, and the fourth debt based on the strategy. For example, if we want to pay off the American Express Gold debt, okay, we should come over here and set it as priority. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that way American Express Gold became our first debt that should be paid off. Okay, we've set as a strategy custom order, which means that we're letting know the template which debt should be paid off first, because on top of 100 that you might allocate each month, you might want to pay some more or some less. For example, we will pay 100, okay, so instead of 160, which is the minimum payment for American Express, we set another 100 on top, which goes on this debt first in order to pay it off faster. And we also say that this month only, I will pay 200 extra. Okay, so now I'm paying the 160, which is the minimum payment, plus 200, overwriting the default amount because we submit another amount over here and make this month's payment, just this month, 360. Okay, so if we come over here on calendar and go at May, we have to pay 360. If we go to June, as you can see, 260 because takes the default amount. So you can set any adjustment you want for a specific month. So what are we doing here is set the strategy that we prefer. I personally prefer the snowball. What the start date? The start date should be the date that we want to be the first payment based on the balance we currently have. Okay, if our balance was $40 extra, we should make it 1 month before, but this month we are at 1,500. Okay, and we are starting from May, so we have no extra payment and we will contribute 100 more. So the snowball strategy, as you can see over here, pay off your debts in order of smallest to largest balance, regardless of interest rate. Avalanche, pay off your debts in order of highest to lowest interest rate. So with snowball strategy, discovered cashback is first, Chase Freedom is second. Discovered cashback stays first because it has interest rate high and balance amount high. Okay, and all we have to do now is simply come over here every month and click the checkbox if we made the payments. We paid this amount, this, and this. Okay, the payoff date for each debt is this one. The starting debt was this one. Outstanding debt is this amount for each one because we already made the payment. If we make another one and another one, okay, the outstanding debt will be reduced. We can also, instead of trying to figure out what's the total amount that we have to pay, we can also select the month month selection, current, okay, and the template will summarize everything on what we have to pay, okay. If we pay this one, for example, left to pay 610, okay, which means this button over here summarize our debts. We might have 10 or 15 debts. Instead of figuring out each month and summarize them manually, we can click the current and we get the summary over here. But we can also select a month, for example, December of 2028, no current, might be December of 2028. Our payment will be 750 because every amount from the previous debts, since we paid them off, will go here. So if you want every time you are paying off a debt to be removed, you have to come over here, remove it by deleting it entirely, okay, and set the date you have that day you paid off that debt, okay. So right now we no longer pay 750, we will pay 710, okay. So keep in mind that you can either the amount that you were paying into paid off debts continue to contributing them to the next debt, or you can remove entirely the paid off debts and continue with the minimum or extra payment you want for each debt after that, okay. If you have any question or you are facing any issues with this tab, message me so I can explain everything again and again in order to clearly understand everything and how strategy works, start date, everything, okay. So that's with the debt repayment tab. Let's go now into cards, subscriptions, seeking funds, and net worth tabs. These tabs are practically standalone tabs. Doesn't affect it by if you made an entry into transactions, okay, and doesn't affect it by if you set a starting amount or a goal amount into your sinking funds. Are just for tracking purposes and works independently from the budget, which means, for example, in cards and auto payments, you can come up over here, submit all your credit cards, their credit limits, their due date, and the current balance, okay. So here you're tracking your credit cards when you're at any given moment. You can also track the monthly statements. On January, might issued 800 balance. On February, 750. And for each month, you can submit it here. That way, you can track the available credit, if you want to reduce it, your payments, and any statement they are issued for this credit card. You can also track the auto payments, okay. When, for example, you might have an auto payment for Netflix that will be paid with Chase credit card every 15th, okay. January paid, February paid. So every time you can track the auto payments over here, okay. And that's the credit card tab, total showing you the total available credit, current balance, active credit cards, total utilization, and last notification. The last notification has a date that's inaccurate because we haven't submitted any day yet, okay. Let's say for that today we made this adjustment, okay. So that's the cards and auto payments tab. It's a simple way to track all your cards and the payments you're doing with them. Next, we have the subscription tracker tab. Over here, you can see that the template brings automatically all the subscription categories you have submitted on the setup page based on what submitted as subscription. So by coming over here, you will see every subscription submitted here. We can set a status for each one, assign a type, okay, set a fee, renewal if it's auto or manual, renew date, and the template will calculate when is the next charge date based on today. Okay, so the next charge date is 15th of June. For yoga app will be in 3 days. Okay, so this one shows automatically your subscriptions based on what you submitted on the setup page. However, in case you have more than that or you want to track more, the template offers another section to track even more by manual submitting them. Okay, so over here you can see there is a color coded area which brings all your subscriptions from the setup page, while over here there is none, so you can use it manually. Okay, and that's the subscription tracker tab also. Let's go now on the sinking funds tab. Over here you can track where you're at with each sinking fund. For example, for new couch we've set 500, okay, as starting amount. Our goal amount is 3,000. Okay, and we want to achieve that goal by the end of November. Okay, so we have 6 months. We have to allocate 416. Okay, we total save 500 and we need 2,500 more. Okay, so now when we add an amount toward this sinking fund, yes, you will add it here, but as we said, won't be automatically included here because this tab can be used separately no matter your budget. So you can come up over here and submit, for example, today for new couch another 500. Okay, and within the June another 300 in order to stay within your payment monthly. Okay, so that way you can track all your sinking funds progress within a tab. You can see where you're at, okay, what's remaining for all your sinking funds. Okay, so let's work on a real life scenario. Let's say that you had a starting amount of 500 with goal amount of 3,000. Okay, and today you add 2,500 more, so you reach your goal. Okay, so I'm coming over here and I see that back to May I've added 500 and today I've added 2,500 more, which means this amount deducted from my income. I haven't submitted any income here. Let's make an income entry. Okay, we get paid 5,000 and we allocate 2,500 into our sinking fund, which means we don't have this amount anymore into our budget. Spend it. In case we want on June to add it into our budget in order to spend it into our couch, we have to create another income category, which is from sinking funds, in order to add that amount back again into our budget. So we've reached our goal at May. Okay, so I'm adding from sinking funds 3,000 to have it available for spend. So if I come over here, I can see that from sinking funds I have 3,000 more ready for spend, besides my paycheck and gift that we've submitted. So I can come also when I buy the couch and submit an expense, might be shopping, okay, at 5th, from bank account, we've spent 3,000. Okay, so now our budget is correct. We tracked our sinking fund properly. We've allocated toward our sinking fund money every month, and the month that we need it, we submit an income category with name from sinking funds, just for our reference. You can name it as you want, okay, to indicate that this 3,000 that spent it through budget by going to sinking funds now is back and ready for spend on that month. So that's a way to handle your finances easily. Keep in mind that income adds money and everything else deducts money from the income. Okay, so by creating the categories you need for each month, you will be able to track everything properly. Again, if you have any specific workaround for your incomes or expenses or anything, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you for being here, and I wish you happy budgeting.